All right, hello there. How's everybody doing? Welcome, greetings. It's me, Chris Herman, for another solo episode of On Deck, episode number 46, and today's topic, used cars. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, today's topic on deck is used cars. Now, some of you know this about me, not all of you, and you might find it interesting, but after starting my career in automotive advertising and marketing here in Florida at Zimmerman, our neighbor just down the street, I spent 4 years, actually 5 years, in the retail side of the business, on the sales side. And my first job after leaving Zimmerman was selling used cars at Gwinnett Place Ford in Duluth, Georgia. And at the time, Gwinnett Place Ford had been a client at Zimmerman, and I was the account executive, and I made the transition to go to work for them. And it was a great experience in my life, really important learning opportunity. And yeah, right out of the gates, went into the used car department. First month, put 11.5 on the books. I felt pretty good about that. That being said, by no means am I a used car expert, so I'm not here to talk about specifics or inventory management or any of that. But having been around the business a long time, and certainly having been around the business in the last year and talking to a lot of our clients and many of my friends, most of whom are in the car business on the retail side, you know, we all know the used car business is very interesting right now. Of course, just like the new car business, there's high demand and short supply. Used cars are tough for dealers to get a hold of, and it's creating an interesting situation. And I don't know how many of you saw it this week, but the one and only Mr. Dale Pollack put out an article on his website. Here it is right here, talking about a look. It's actually titled "A Look at the Winners and Losers in the Current Used Car Market." And of course, according to Dale, who we all know knows as much or more about used cars than anybody else in our industry, you know, the winners are dealers currently, are the ones that have inventory, and the losers are customers, which I think we're all quite aware of. However, I thought that I would take this moment because I thought there was some really interesting information in here. So I'm just going to quote a couple of statistics that are inside Dale's article. So, for example, and they're all about how people are paying more, terms are extending, payments are going up, etc. And then I want to tie this together for sort of an outlook over the next 5 years from my perspective, from a marketer's perspective. But a couple things. So the average down payment has increased since 2019. So 2019, the average used car down payment was $2,000. And now the average down payment is $2,800. Average monthly payments are going up. In prime category, payments are going up about $20 a month for a 60-month loan. And payments are going up on average $44 a month on a 72-month loan. In super prime, average monthly payment increased $18 a month for a 60-month loan and $46 per month for a 72-month loan. Loan lengths, loan terms. The average term currently is close to 70 months. Think about that, 70 months on a used car. And many dealers, he says, anecdotally, I know dealers are inking more 84-month loans for used vehicles than they have in the past. Now, I mean, I remember from my days in the F&I department at Gwinnett Place Ford, I mean, that was back in the day when on a new vehicle, stretching somebody to 72 was like, you know, taking them out 6 months or 6 years rather. You know, at the time, standard retail was more in the 60-month range. But, you know, taking them out to 72, that was kind of like we knew we were stretching people out, and we knew we were increasing the likelihood of them having, our customers having negative equity. Now, think about this. You got used vehicles now, average 70 months, pushing 84. More money buys less car. In 2019, a 5-year loan with a $356 monthly payment would buy a roughly 3.5-year-old vehicle. 2 years later, in 2021, that same 5-year loan with a payment of a $360 $376 per month now gets you a 5.5-year-old car. Think about that. Over a period of 2 years, the same money gets you a car that on average is 2 years older than it was in 2019. Now, I think we all realize that this is not something that the dealers are doing. This is the marketplace right now. There's a high demand for vehicles and there's low availability of vehicles, and that's what's driving these figures here. But when you look at it, you've got payments that used to get you a 3.5-year-old car now get you a 5.5-year-old car. Average term 70 months. Down payments going up. These are things that are happening as a result of the market right now. But from a marketer's perspective and somebody who has a company that has worked with and worked in close partnership with many dealers, hundreds of dealers over the last 15 years, my mind immediately goes to, what is this going to present for the dealer down the road, right? I think we can all say that at some point in time, this bubble is going to burst. And I wouldn't even call this a bubble, but at some point in time, God willing, chips are going to flow, new inventory is going to start pumping again. Those values are going to go down. Customers are going to start getting into new vehicles. We all know the manufacturer is going to push really hard to get caught up. Used vehicle, pricing will drop. Dealers could find themselves in a challenging situation sitting on inventory, with potential water as a result. The rental fleets will dump cars onto the market. So it's going to get crazy at some point in time. But for this conversation, as it pertains to used car, I think about the customer and I think about what are we going to do to market at a certain point in time. And what I'm saying is this: when you've got customers stretching financially to buy cars because they need them, when they're stretching financially to buy older cars, when they're stretching financially in terms of the length of the term of the loan, when they're stretching financially to have to put more money down to get into the cars, we're talking about your customer, Mr. and Mrs. Dealer, having to really step up to get into a product that's really not worth what they're paying for. And at some point in time, the values are going to drop precipitously. And your customer is going to wake up one day and go, man, I didn't like this car when I bought it, but I had no choice. This was the best I could do. Bought a 5.5-year-old used car, probably because I couldn't get a new car. And now 2-3 years down the road, those cars are 7 years old. They're not worth anything. And you've got customers, a lot of people driving around in cars that they didn't want in the first place. They paid too much for, and now they want out. And how easy is it going to be to get your customer out of a car that they paid $5,000, $10,000 more than they should have at the time, and now that car's value has dropped significantly? We're going to be talking about a situation that we all know and we've all dealt with before, but I don't think we will have ever dealt with it to this degree, which is we're going to start seeing negative equity like crazy, right? I mean, these values are going to drop big time at some point in time, and people are going to want out of these cars. As a marketer, and as somebody who has helped dealers craft their marketing strategy and their branded content for my entire career, I'm already thinking about, what is the story we're going to have to say? What are we going to need to tell our consumers? What are dealers going to have to tell their customer? Because there's going to be some serious pain points in the future as people wake up and realize that they're stuck in these cars that they don't want and want desperately out of. And so I think we're going to find in the next 2 to 3 years a resurgence in the type of marketing that is geared towards getting customers out of their negative equity. I guarantee that in a couple 2 to 3 years, dealers are going to be talking about, we can get you out of your car, right? It's going to happen. I mean, just write it down. We all know that this is coming. I guess the question is what can be done now? And on the used car side, not really. I think you just got to roll with it. But one of the things that I've been saying for a long time is it's very important for dealerships to tell the story right now. And from a used car perspective, dealers need to communicate to their customer that, yeah, these are challenging times and we're doing everything that we can to get you a quality vehicle at a reasonable price. We, the dealer, are not dictating, the market. The market is dictating itself on inventory values, used vehicle values, and used vehicle pricing. But I think the sharp dealers right now, the ones who really care about their customer base and really care about what they're going to be dealing with their customer base over the next 5 years, will do their very best right now to communicate, hey, these are unique times. It's harder for us to find these vehicles. The values are higher. We're doing everything we can to provide you, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, with value even today on a used vehicle. Now, that's something that you can do now. But the real message that I wanted to discuss today in terms of used cars is looking forward. It's going to be a real bonanza. It's just going to be crazy when inventory starts coming back and all these values start shifting. I think it's going to be a wide open free for all. It's really, you're going to see lenders coming together with all kinds of crazy, finance packages, overvaluations or over allowances on loans just to get people out of the current cars and into new stuff. I mean, it's going to be wild. It's going to be really wild. And the used vehicle, it's not just going to be driven by new cars, but, used vehicles, the values today are going to drive some very, very interesting business practices and marketing methodologies as we look forward over the next couple, 2-3 years. So, as always, Dale Pollack, super insightful with everything that he brings to to our business, and I found this stuff very interesting. Just more confirmation that our, your customers as dealers, they're really getting stretched right now, and they're going to continue to be, and we're going to need to, as we work through this over the next few years, be very aware of that in terms of how we communicate, message, market, and handle the customer experience to make sure that the automotive industry continues to lead the way in terms of customer service and growth and opportunity. So those are my thoughts today on used cars. Again, not a used car expert, but just as a marketer who's been around the business my entire life, these are some interesting times we're living in, and used cars, it's going to be a wild ride for the next 2-3 years. All right. Everybody, thank you so much for paying attention to my words to you today. I hope you're all well. I hope your families are healthy and safe, and that you're enjoying life during these times. As always, please take a moment to like this video. Make your comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Please subscribe to our channel so that you can keep getting notifications when the new commentary and the new content comes out, because we're pumping it out, trying to maintain and retain relevance during these times, and I hope you're getting something out of this, okay? Thanks, everybody. It's me, Chris Herman. Have a great day. See ya.